Hi, everybody. This is Gail Carson, and believe it or not, we are ready for Module 3. So here we go. The first thing we have to think about with Module 3 is the local timely stories. We've talked about this before, but this is a very, very, very important part. This is what gives you the the link to the public that's watching it. So that's why it's so important for you to take that time the night before to check the TV news shows, the get the local paper, get the morning paper. If you're doing, it's going to be difficult if you're on that early morning time slot. But if you can get the night paper or even the paper the day before, if you're doing an early morning show, if you can tie it to the local area, that's going to be so important for you. I just can't and tell you how important this is. Then, of course, national stories are very important. But again, remember this is a local show and they're looking for a more local aspect, but you can bring the national into it. For example, you might say, you certainly are aware of what's happening with climate change. And it's so important for us to be aware of this. However, even in your local area, you might have rising sea levels, or you might see that you've had a lot of fires that normally don't happen this often, or you've seen more hurricanes than ever before. You can bring the local in and tie it to a national or even an international subject, but it has to make sense. So that's part of the national stories. And you've got 30 seconds to pitch your best stuff. In that 30 seconds, you also have to paint a picture. Why should they bring you on? Remember, there are thousands of people just like you who are trying to get on this show. And they've got to decide, why do I want to hire you? Now, one of the ways they will do this is because you are enthusiastic and you are energetic and you sound like you've got, yeah, you'd be a fun guest. But if you pitch yourself like this, it's not going to mean anything. So, you've got to get excited. Yes, I know how many people over the age of 50 are trying to get second jobs. I know the things that they are running into, and I'm going to give your audience the three worst mistakes to avoid. And they're going to really learn something from this segment. And I'll give you a formula for success. I'll give you facts. I'll give you data. I'll give you statistics. And I will give you examples. So that's important. That's all in 30 seconds. That's all you get. And then, of course, it has to be relevant. And the statistics have to be good. And what do people really care about? The things that you care about may not be what their audience cares about. So that's one of the reasons why, if you get a chance to really talk to the segment producer, sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. It depends on how fragile they are, how fragmented they are, how busy they are, as to how much time they will give you. Some of them never give you any time at all. Sometimes you're booked through an assistant. It still goes to the segment producer, but it might be an assistant segment producer that you're working with. So you've got to make sure it's relevant and ask them, what is it that your audience really cares about? What do you hear from them? What do they say? Some of them don't ever contact the station. Some of them never contact the host, but many of them do. And now that everybody's on Facebook and, LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram, people get in touch with the people who are on air, and they've got an easy way to do it now. So you can find that out by asking the host. The other thing is that it has to be, you know, kind of where it's evergreen, it's forever. So it might be something that every day, for example, you might say something like, for an everyday item, every day when you get up, do you get up with a smile? Do you get up with energy? Do you have aches and pains getting out of bed? That's an everyday item. Emotional might be, are you familiar with all the unwanted animals that are out there? That's the reason that you bring a dog in or a cat in for your segment. You're passionate about saving these abused or forgotten animals. And if you bring something in like that, emotional, and you've got dog or cat lovers watching this, they're going to be hooked. Money saving tips. What do you do? How can you get a lower interest rate? How can you get more bang for your buck? Where should you shop for certain things? And of course, tech things, always something new with technology. And if you're doing technology, you're probably going to have something that you're demonstrating or some kind of graph or chart that people can see and understand. Very important. And of course, evergreen means they can bring back this subject area and play it again and again and again. On CNN, when you're on CNN, you hear the same thing over and over and over again. It's evergreen. And they may even bring back a quote from 6 months ago. Well, this is what John Doe said when he was interviewed 6 months ago about this particular subject. So they may bring it back. So again, evergreen, very, very important, a big part of this. So this is part of your module 3. I hope you're ready for it because this is a very important part of what you're going to be doing.